welcome to Tim and Joel Call It in the Ring. I'm Tim.
And I'm Joel.
And now we're ready to talk wrestling. I'm Tim.
You would be surprised how much work it takes to talk
and
wrestling.
Now we're ready to talk wrestling.
You would be surprised. You know what? I'm going to jump right into it.
Now we're ready to talk wrestling.
You know what? I'm going to jump right into it. I'm sure everyone who's watching us, listening, you've got one hell of a week going on too. But you know what? The show must go on. And WWE 24's latest installment was that for WrestleMania 36. I'm not going to dive too deep into it. I want to talk about two things. The first is going to be that Vince and Gronk segment. I know you saw the video going around. This was something that had been reported for a little while before it was actually shown on video, where if you missed it, Rob Gronkowski, who was hosting WrestleMania, was afraid to take the dive. This leap of faith off of a podium that was probably about 12, 16 feet in the air. And
onto a crash pad. Onto a crash pad.
He was supposed to hit a crowd of people who were going to catch him and then, fall backwards, bracing his fall. But he was a little scared, right? No. So what does Vince McMahon do? He goes up and he says, well, pal, I'll do it for you because I wouldn't do anything I wouldn't do for anyone else.
Wouldn't ask anyone to take a bump that I wouldn't take.
Exactly. So he goes up and he does the thing, goes over the railing, and he just does a flat back onto that crash pad. And my favorite part of the whole video is if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see my hand movement, or if you've seen it already, you can know he just does that.
It's a ta-da! That kind of motion.
He was about to say something else. It looks like he was about to call Gronk a certain word, but he didn't. And Gronk only lasted a few more months in WWE before going back to football. So the other thing that I want to bring up from that WrestleMania WWE 24 is actually a quote from Kevin Owens. And he said, quote, "Wrestling is more about moments than matches." That's coming from Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, who back in his indie days was all about the matches and the quality and the caliber of the matches he put on. I found it really interesting that the guy who has been now in WWE for, God, it's almost about 8-9 years now. He said that. What do you think about Kevin Owens and the idea of moments more than matches?
I mean, okay, so this is actually going to take me into an interesting kind of pathway, because I kind of agree. Like a lot of at least WWE stuff, I care more about the big spots and the dramatic, silly stuff, and like some of the promos, some of the backstage antics they've done historically, than a lot of the matches. There are still very special matches, almost all of them at pay-per-views. Like I don't have a ton of like childhood fond memories about Raw or SmackDown. Probably should, but like thinking back, I remember the ring collapsing, Lesnar, Big Show. Like that was like that's a moment. And I remember that. I don't remember the match that preceded it like at all, not even a little bit. And so that's where
go ahead.
That's where I was when this week started. When you had seen that, you made a note about that comment. I had seen the comment and I've been thinking about it kind of all week. Then I watched NXT last night and like, no, I don't know. There's different ways to do this. There are different philosophies.
But that's the thing about wrestling, right? There's no right way to watch it and there's no right way to consume it. And I said it on our Twitter earlier today at Tim and Joel Pod, that if you are a wrestling fan, don't force yourself to hate watch something just because a bunch of people are talking about it. There's so much wrestling out there. You can find something that speaks to you. And if it doesn't speak to you, move on, man. Life is too short for you to, sit there and complain that everything is garbage. And that's part of the reason why we're here, right? We're talking about the stuff we like, a little bit about the stuff we didn't like, but we never go at it in a way that like doesn't sound like we're shitting on everything, to put it bluntly. Speaking of the not so great things that we have to say, Dave Meltzer last night on Twitter, despite the fact that we are being told it's a persona, Dave with a very, very tone deaf take on whether AEW should have called up TNT last night and had Dynamite air last night instead of during the NBA games that were canceled because players decided that the world is not worth having a basketball game right now, especially after what's going on or what's been going on lately in Wisconsin. To make it worse, he doubled down. People started telling him, Dave, that's not the way to think. We should not be giving AEW an opportunity just because something got canceled or something got pulled for the night. And he decided to say, well, it's better than watching or airing old movies on TNT. What do you feel? How do you feel about that?
Don't watch TNT for the night. It's fine. Like, it was a protest. That was the whole point. And as far as the persona thing, okay, I'm gonna expose my ignorance further here. Dave Meltzer is a radio personality. Is that correct? Is that who he is?
He is the Wrestling Observer man in charge. He is the Wrestling Observer.
He's a print media personality then. Yes.
He's print, but he does a lot of radio as well because over time you adapt and you have to, change your process. So he does a lot of print and a lot of spoken.
When people are talking about personas, most of the time methodology is that you take an aspect of your personality and you heighten it, right? That way you can play that persona consistently and realistically in public. Like if you're going to be a celebrity persona. So like, I've never read him as someone who's like a controversial guy. He just seemed like a wry wrestling fan with like strongly held opinions. So like, I don't know. I wouldn't blame it on anything. Acknowledge you made a bum call and move on. Like,
he's done it before. I mean, he's got a weird track record with doubling down on really questionable takes. If you go back far enough, you'll find stuff about Peyton Royce, some stuff he had to say about her body image. And again, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but Dave is very well respected and he has written some amazing words on pro wrestling, but there's just once in a while you look at him and you're just like, come on, man, don't do this. You don't need to go there. You have so much more than doubling down on why TNT should be airing the show instead. Like, it's more than wrestling. Maybe just go watch Gilmore Girls or something. I don't know.
Yeah. The last thing I was about to say on it is like, I think it's the result of having such a myopic focus on pro wrestling that like everything needs to be tied back to pro wrestling. So like he gets those blinders on, and then stuff like this is going to happen inevitably.
Well, what's better than listening to Dave Meltzer tell you about wrestling is actually watching the R-Truth game show on the WWE network. Have you watched it yet?
No, I haven't watched the R-Truth game show. I haven't watched much of the WWE's content that isn't wrestling.
If you have a chance, it is free on the network. I think it might be on YouTube or at least in clips. It's basically R-Truth holding his own game show with different WWE superstars. So Alexa Bliss has been on, Sasha Banks, Big E, the Usos have been on, Nia Jax recently, Jeff Hardy. My favorite thing about this whole show is that it actually exposes who on the roster has awful internet connections. You'd be surprised.
Well, when you're never at home, like, what do you want?
Right? So, Jeff Hardy did not surprise me when he was just choppy and it was an awful,
he's
video.
He's from one of the Carolinas, isn't he?
Yeah. He's on a farm in North Carolina. So it's not a shock. It's like, you go over to his brother's house and he's probably got like gigabit 5. And then meanwhile, they're still on DSL back at the ranch where the other Hardys are.
Wild. Does it follow like another game show's format? Like, is he just ripping off, or has he invented his own? He's
doing takes on games. So
so it changes.
Yeah, it changes. He'll pick up different like stats that he, makes you fill in the blanks. Or one of my favorites is actually in every episode is it's a scavenger hunt where he makes the wrestler kind of run around wherever they are in their apartment and find different things in the house. So it'll be like, show me a dog, or show me a title belt, or show me, a piece. My favorite is whenever he says a piece of R-Truth merchandise, and they just look at him and they're like, no, we don't have that. If you get a chance, go and watch it. It is such an easy watch. It's like 25 minutes. If you don't watch his like end of the show wrap where he does a freestyle, I'm sorry, Truth, I don't watch it. It's a 20-minute watch. and it's really easy. It's so much fun.
That does sound fun. And I will watch the rap. I like his rap. He's one of the few wrestlers I enjoy the rapping.
Well, before we move on to the next thing, this is something he does with every contestant, which just always makes me laugh. He does his "What's up," and
Yeah.
he'll shout like, "Hey Tim, what's up?"
What's up?
Yeah, except he's actually trying to ask you, "What's up? What's up in your life?"
Oh,
So
and it's unclear.
It's the most amazing deadpan thing.
He's
ever.
ruined that sentence for himself.
No, he's made it into the best conversation piece for himself, because you don't know if he's actually asking or not. He might just he might be seriously interested. What's up?
It's no longer functional though. Like
Oh.
for him as a human person trying to converse.
Maybe he'll just switch it to like, what's going on? Maybe
Okay.
if he ever leaves WWE, which I doubt because the man will be 78 and still saying what's up. If he ever left and say went to Ring of Honor, what's he gonna do? What's going on? Probably doesn't hit as well.
No.
No.
I'm not feeling it already.
All right, well, let's talk about feeling the Thunderdome. You and I,
Thunderdome.
we hit up Thunderdome on Friday for SmackDown.
We
last
did.
week.
Every time, just as a heads up, every time you say Thunderdome, you have to give me a second to do something horrendous.
Got it.
Okay.
Thunderdome.
All right.
Thunderdome.
Wonderful. Eventually, we're just gonna have a stream deck that whenever you press Thunderdome,
Yeah, I'll have a button.
yeah, and you're gonna have to say the thing. This isn't going over very well. Anyway, so people have been talking about the producers producing Thunderdome.
Big improvement from Friday. I don't care. I don't care what anyone says. They need to do that. And if they don't, it's awful.
So our experience was probably very similar because we were both in Thunderdome on Friday and we were kind of going back and forth about the experience. I got in late, and even though call time said something like 7:00 show up just to be there, I showed up at about 8:15, 8:30. I was, peeking in my personal life. I was visiting my parents and helping them pack up because they're selling their house and moving. So I was kind of like frazzled all over the place. Had dinner with them, kind of debriefed for the night, and then went down and started watching SmackDown in my parents' basement. I was 16 again. It was very weird. Anyway, so we went and we're watching Thunderdome, and we're just chatting back and forth. First of all, it was real laggy. It was real slow.
So bad.
And it kept booting us because I don't know. Maybe it was their system. I don't know what it was. What was your experience with Thunderdome in the first night?
Unwatchable. Like it's just they want you to react to things that are happening, but the feed was really slow. It's not my internet. Is not my setup. Like I was in kind of like the most optimal situation you can have, at least in Canada, and it just was not working well. They even acknowledged it. They're like, we're working on trying to get this to work better early, like after they did the 205 live taping. But it never got, it got a little better, but it was still, I can't react in real time. So why am I watching this? And there's a delay on the other feed. So like, I can't even watch it on TV.
Yeah, I think Thunderdome is ahead by about 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, presumably so that they can, stop atrocities from being presented to the world.
Yeah, it didn't really work so well. That's actually something we can talk about. But first, what did you think about producers going in and saying, how do you feel about Randy Orton? Thumbs down, or Drew McIntyre. How do we feel about Drew? Yay, show us your hands in the air, all excited. What do you think about producers producing the free audience in the Thunderdome?
They have to. They absolutely have to do that. Like if they don't, like they didn't do that Friday, that wasn't happening. You could tell they started doing it for SummerSlam, and it was so much better as just a backdrop, because without it, it's just people watching their TVs. Like there was nothing engaging about it. There were some people, who are doing that low angle, like from the tummy to the under chin.
Oh yeah,
kind of
you can see right up their
this,
nose.
Yeah, like it wasn't great, and there was not that much enthusiasm, because when you're alone, you're watching TV. Like it's that Reddit joke that when you laugh, you just blow air out your nose forcefully. Like it's not, your reactions aren't going to be the same as when you're with a group of people, and it's hard to feel like you're part of an audience when they're not actually feeding you any other audience members' audio. That's one thing that I find funny is how much they're hamming up like the audio being piped in and pretending like it's coming from the Thunderdome. It's not. It's clearly pre-recorded audience crowd walla. And yeah, like they keep talking about how it's coming from those individual feeds, but it absolutely isn't. I was making noises, but it was like, woo, yeah. And keep in mind, there's only 1,000 people in there. Even 1,000 people doing that is not going to sound like an arena.
No, it's not. And like you said, you do have to pipe in sound to get any sort of reality type of, real feel, especially if you're someone performing in the arena and you want that real live audience feel there. One of the cooler ideas that there have been a few, but one of the ways to handle the live crowd versus piping in sound that I've read is having the plexiglass players back, putting them behind all of the screens, maybe having them, or maybe off camera on the same side as the hard cam, just kind of like off to the side, still banging and screaming and going crazy because it's live people in the audience feeding off that live adrenaline, while still making the focus the Thunderdome. What do you think of that?
I think it's okay. I think whatever you're going to do is going to feel limited in a way. Like it's just, you're not going to be able to recreate the experience. I don't mind them pumping in the crowd noise, honestly. It works a lot better now that there's not nobody. Like when it was just a few wrestlers or when there was like clearly no one in the stands, the crowd noise wasn't really working. But having the people in the Thunderdome and having them be produced and do the like woo and all the hand motions, that makes it feel a little bit more genuine. I know it's not, but it at least feels a bit more normal. So you could add some wrestlers in there. I think that would amplify it as well, just to create the live voices. Like it's about mixing in all of these different options to try to create the best thing possible in a challenging situation.
Absolutely. And then you have to handle dome trolls. And without getting too far into it, because I know they've been everywhere. I mean, I work in a organization, in a business that once we moved from everything being in person to an online setting, we had to start handling what they call Zoom bombers, where people can just come in if they, can hack into your Zoom call and start yelling anything. Could be racist, could be anti-Semitic, could be, whatever you want to call it, not good stuff. And we're kind of seeing that with these dome trolls, people coming in and putting stuff on screen. We won't get into the list of stuff. Some of it's funny, some of it.
Like I personally didn't see a lot of like bad stuff.
Yeah.
There are some people making political messages, which I'm fine with. I have no real issue with that. Obviously, WWE has their prerogative to minimize that, and I don't have an issue with them trying to minimize that either.
Yeah.
Like,
it's their show. I mean, I saw signs for GCW. I saw Pikachu's and Mario's, and that stuff makes me laugh. It's like, okay,
same.
It's cute. It doesn't harm anyone. It's kind of funny. It's when you start doing the other stuff that people have been reading about, and we're not going to get into here, that's another problem. And I don't really think that's coming from wrestling fans. I think that's coming from people who just want to be dicks.
Like, I mean, as a big wrestling fan, I couldn't tolerate being in the Thunderdome for more than 30 minutes because I wanted to watch the show.
Yeah.
And it was very difficult to watch the show in that format. And like the way that my computer is specifically set up, like my eyes they want your eyes to be looking at your device. And I don't want to watch on my phone. I don't want to watch on a laptop. I want to watch on a television or my like awesome setup, but my eye lines don't work. So I think I got booted from TV for that partially. So.
And then, one thing we're talking about when it comes to dome trolls is just how do you handle them? One of the more interesting ideas that we had does come from Fightful, and that's the idea of having credit card entry. In other words, pay $10, get in. Maybe they'll pay it back after the show as long as you didn't do something to get you booted. And then maybe they'll add on top of that a WWE Shop gift card. I like that idea. Another idea that I kind of popped in on Twitter was a point system. That was with the guys from PWT Talks NXT. They were talking about doing some sort of point system where the better behaved you are, for lack of better terms, you get moved closer and closer to the front. Therefore, you're closer to being on TV. And some people, it's an attention thing.
I like that one because like I'll give them the energy that they want. Like it's just you have to make it engaging, and like I need some reassurance that I'm not doing that for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that would be great. I think they could get more interesting audiences that way. They'll have to control for self-promotion, people promoting their YouTube channels, TikToks, etc.
Yeah.
But it's all manageable. Like they could do that. And I actually like that. I like the credit card idea as well, just as a deposit, small amounts, but whatever. At least you're getting real people who aren't afraid to provide you their identity, for example.
It's a work in progress, so we're going to see what Thunderdome does. Speaking of works in progress, Keith Lee debuted on Raw this past week. In my note, I had written, "Is this beaten to death?" And I think we can both agree that Keith Lee's upside is much, much larger than Keith Lee's negative aspects of his debut, losing the music, changing the attire, maybe the way he was slotted in to basically be in the middle of Orton versus Drew. What do you think about Keith Lee in his first night on Raw?
I love Keith Lee. All of Raw, I don't know. I didn't have a whole lot of strong feelings one way or the other. I think it's too quick. I think he could have stayed back a little bit, like just a couple weeks, a little bit longer to separate him from that match with Karrion. But
yeah, the hardest thing
whatever. It'll work out in the end is the one thing I want to say. Like it'll work out in the end, regardless.
I think the hardest thing when it comes to Keith Lee for me is actually the fact that on the media call after NXT, Triple H said something like, everything happens for a reason. We have plans. Stay tuned. And then the next night on SummerSlam, they play the Keith debuts on Raw. And he said that you're wondering, like, did he mean that? Or did he mean that he had plans for him in NXT? And then suddenly the next night it was like, nope, need him on Monday, pal. It'll be remained.
I don't know. I've got a lot of feelings about just the NXT as a development program and whatever.
It's changed a lot. It's no question. We can really, it has changed a lot, especially when they started getting themselves 2 hours on cable TV. And that's a pretty big deal. It forces you to move from developmental to more mainstream, where your main roster isn't just Raw and SmackDown. Your main roster can now include NXT, which means wrestlers are now on an even par to move from show to show to show. But now some of your newer wrestlers, some of your newer performers, newer trainees who get a little bit of TV time don't get the same amount as someone who's coming in, has the experience, or may have even been on Raw or SmackDown before this. So yeah, I think you're right. It's become a weird place, NXT.
It just feels so different. And like, is Triple H like the IRL producer? Like, is he really?
It's his show. It is his baby. It is his promotion, if you will.
It gives me a lot of hope for the future. I'll say that much. Like, I think if he can do that, like, he's always been my favorite wrestler, I'll say.
Ooh.
Like, yeah, I really like Triple H. Yeah, he's my favorite wrestler, and he's producing one hell of a show right now, comparatively.
Just don't ask.
Possibly Go ahead. Just don't ask him.
Just don't ask him about Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, see, and that there, it's pro wrestling. I'm not prepared to believe that. I feel like a lot of people in this business are not aligned with me politically or all that, but
it's a reality. It really is. You're not the first person. You're not the last person. And as I've told this to people over the years, don't put any athlete on a pedestal. Just don't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't put anyone on a. Having met a bunch of like musician celebrities, people are people. We all have flaws.
Exactly. So. You know who doesn't have a flaw though? It's Ethan Page. Maybe he does, but we just haven't seen it yet. No, you know what? Ethan Page is wonderful. You've seen him on Impact with the North, him and Josh Alexander. They are former Impact Tag Team Champions, and Ethan also runs Alpha One, which is a promotion that runs out of Hamilton, Ontario, not too far from where we are. And they're actually having a show live on Saturday at 2 p.m. And if you can't be there live, it's actually going to be for free on Ethan Page's Twitch channel. And that's twitch.tv/playedbyjulian. If you go on Ethan Page's Twitter page, you'll see it all over the place. Ethan Page will be there. Josh Alexander will be there. Jody Threat, who is a favorite of mine, will be wrestling there.
Solid.
Mark Wheeler, who we both know from Super Kicked. First time I saw the guy, I was like, how old is he? And why isn't he anywhere bigger yet? He's getting there. It's amazing.
Oh, he should be there. He's so good. He's great.
He's great. Space Monkey will be there. I know we all love some Space Monkey. Literally a man a monkey who was launched into space and came back with superhuman abilities to wrestle. Space monkey. And more.
A lot of monkey gags.
They will, more banana peels. They will be at Alpha One this Saturday at 2 p.m. It's live and it's free on Ethan Page's Twitch channel, twitch.tv/playedbyjulian. And I want to get into a little bit more NXT before we move on. And that's Super Tuesday. Next Tuesday, NXT. We saw Karrion Kross. He's injured. He injured himself at a TakeOver 30 last week. And it sucks. I mean, it happened early in the match. It made the match a little more awkward to watch because it wasn't the best match they've ever had. But unfortunately, Lee had to relinquish the NXT title. But from
Karrion Kross had to relinquish the NXT title.
Yes.
We'll misspeak.
What did I say?
Lee.
Did I say Lee? I meant Karrion Kross.
Yeah. He does like to relinquish him a title, though. But...
He did. So there you go. Both men have now relinquished the title for different reasons. All right, fine. So Karrion Kross has relinquished his NXT title. And as a result, next Tuesday, NXT Super Tuesday, they are preempted a day because of the NHL playoffs. Finally, the Canadians get one over on NXT. Finn Balor, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Adam Cole. It's a 4-way to determine the next NXT champion. And it's a 60-minute Iron Man match. Wow.
When this was happening, I didn't know that I could get more excited about like how well that show was going, full stop. And then it was just like, okay, Regal comes out and he's Regal and I love Regal. And he does his bit and he's very, very stoic about it and talking about how great Karrion Kross is and you know, unfortunate. And then he announces how they're going to decide it, and I thought it was going to be another bloody tournament, which have been so many tournaments lately. I don't care.
Or a ladder
match, and it's just nah, let's not drag this out. And then fatal 4-way, all former champions, and then I was like, oh my god, they name who's in it. I'm very, very excited. I was like, I haven't been this excited for a match in a while. And then they throw on the 60-minute Iron Man match stipulation, which, oh man, I don't even know that I've seen more than a 2-person Iron Man match.
So
tag team, I guess, but
2 things. First of all, the only thing I would have done is made it a 5-way and put Cameron Grimes in it. And that's just me. Listen,
wow,
my love for the hat. Card. That's right. My love for the hat. Oh, it supersedes any former NXT champion. I want Cameron Grimes. I want the hat. That's what I need. But because you brought it up, do you know the last time a fatal 4-way Iron Man match has ever happened in a major promotion?
No, I don't.
It was in 2002 in July, and I'm going to credit PWT Talks NXT. That's PW Torch's post NXT show. I'm gonna give them the nod for this because they were the ones to break it. Low Key, Christopher Daniels, Spanky, who is now known as Brian Kendrick in WWE, and Doug Williams had a fatal or a 4-way Iron Man match at Ring of Honor's Crowning a Champion. That was one of their very early first ever shows for the first Ring of Honor World Champion.
Holy crap.
Haven't done it since 2002.
Is Brian Kendrick still around?
He's still wrestling. He's still a man with a plan.
And is he in WWE?
Yes. You can see he's cruiserweight. He's still around, unless he got furloughed and I missed it.
Is he just sitting on 205?
Yeah.
Because I don't watch 205.
Probably. You and a lot of other people. Unfortunately. And I used to love it, but we won't go there. I do want to say though, so yes, PWT Talks NXT did bring up the match. If you go into my Twitter, I knew about it, the match and everything. I had posted a photo of, there's a really funny photo of Spanky, Brian Kendrick, with current WWE champion because he was in a scramble match for the title. This was like when no one was really watching. I posted that and I wanted to see, no one was going to get it. It was so stupidly obscure. But there you go. There's NXT Tuesday night. Balor, Gargano, Ciampa, Cole. It's 4-way for your next NXT champion. And then whoever wins that match better face the hat.
Hot damn, I can't wait.
Tim,
I can't wait.
Tim, give me a 101, would you?
101. Okay, so we're talking Iron Man matches because there's been a couple of them. There was the women's title Iron Man match on Impact Emergence Night 2. Jordan Grace versus Diana Perazzo.
God,
And
it was good.
This one that we're talking about now. Two Iron Man matches recent in very quick succession. So the way they work is basically it's a timed match. You have a number of falls, that you're supposed to acquire. There's no limit typically. They're just timed. You have either 30 or 60 minutes in most cases, most significant cases. Falls are based solely on the victory conditions that we talked about last week. So, you get disqualified, you get knocked out, you get pinned, you get submitted. I've seen a lot with disqualifications just because, the heel wants to get that one up. They'll give you one, but you're pretty messed up. So they'll pin you right after, get that right back. But you're irrevocably changed. Sometimes there's a rest period between falls. They'll give you 15, 30 seconds, whatever. Regardless, there's normally a rest period between falls, even if it's unofficial, because the wrestlers are tuckered after fall. So they'll take a few seconds. If there's a draw, it might go into overtime. So they'll add additional time for you to try to get as many falls during that time and win. Or more often than not, they'll give you one last sudden death pinfall where you have to try to win through, well, not just pinfall, but any fall.
Tim,
yeah.
what's your favorite Iron Man match?
Benoit versus Angle, Backlash 2001. It was
Really?
only 30 minutes, but it was ultimate submission, man. Sometimes they were fun when they were doing the submission stuff. I liked watching them work together.
I get it.
Not everyone. Some people are great. Some people are boring.
Fair. Can I give you mine?
Yeah.
From Judgment Day 2000, your favorite wrestler, Triple H. He took on The Rock. And the reason why I love this match is twofold. One, it holds the record right now for most falls in an Iron Man match. It was 6-5. Ridiculous.
That's exciting.
And that is some Attitude Era booking. And the other thing that happened was The Undertaker made his return at that show. And I, despite how you might feel about The Undertaker now, was a huge Undertaker fan back then. And to see him back and do the American Badass gimmick, it was something else at the time. All the bells and whistles were thrown out. It was, to me, my favorite Iron Man match.
Yeah.
Exciting
to see. I think that I might be putting too much on this one next Tuesday, but that's probably going to be my favorite Iron Man match.
I think it's got potential.
It definitely does.
So you did mention the Diana Perazzo and Jordan Grace 30-minute Iron Man match from last night, or was it last night? No, 2 nights ago. So Emergence. My brains all don't know what day it is. It's Thursday.
Been a week.
Right? Well, Dynamite's tonight, so I don't know what day it is anymore. So anyway, we got into that Iron Man match, and I went in thinking it was going to be just a 30 minutes and one fall. That was it. No overtime, just straight ahead. Wasn't shocked to see it end at 2-1. I wasn't shocked to see Perazzo win, but I was shocked to see that it was going to be like that last second tap out in the armbar. And we knew the Fujiwara armbar was going to be what did it. I just didn't expect it to be like that whole, I can't hold on any longer, so I'm going to give up. I thought Jordan Grace looked amazing, and so did Diana Perazzo. Where do we go now with Jordan Grace? I don't know. Maybe she'll go to Wrestle House and burn the thing down because I can't stand Wrestle House.
Somebody's got to go burn down Wrestle House. And I know it's Tommy Dreamer's house, but it's got to get burnt to the ground. Nice man or not.
Tommy will always find a way to show up, especially in Wrestle House. But with the Bound for Glory card basically set, according to Fightful, it'll be interesting to see how things play out, considering what's booked next week on Impact. If you get a chance, go over, check them out. They're on Twitch. They're on Access. I'm not going to hit too much on Emergence. We were talking offline about RVD versus Eddie Edwards, and something that I brought up to someone else was actually the fact that 10 years ago, when it was the Hogan and Bischoff stuff in TNA, we were talking about how all the 40-something wrestlers were beating the younger talent. Fast forward 10 years, we have the almost 50-something wrestler beating, granted, Eddie Edwards is not new and not a first-time champion, but RVD didn't beat him, but it was just a really weird kind of coincidence there, watching RVD at almost 50 take on Eddie Edwards. I'm hoping for better from Impact. They're always delivering when we get to pay-per-view time. Sometimes their TV feels like they're just trying to get through it so they get to the next big show. That's
One thing I'll say is like, yeah, it's there's good stuff there, but it's just there's some oddities to it that like, cool, you're doing what Cody Rhodes was doing in AEW by doing the like every week challenge, but you're doing it with the main title. But then I don't know, it's falling a little flat. It's cheapening that title to me. Additionally, like the commentary, I like Madison Rain, I like Josh Matthews,
Really?
but like I don't mind them. I don't mind them at all. But where I think things break down, because I don't like the commentary, but I think that they have the potential to do it. The problem is that like their personalities are ill-defined and they both end up playing different roles on different days. Like I don't get who's supposed to be like kind of heel favoring and who's supposed to be kind of like, more often than not, it feels like it's supposed to be Madison Rain, but it isn't consistent and it's confusing.
I agree. And I mean, I've never been a fan of Josh Matthews on the call.
Because he's a dork.
I didn't say it. Josh, if you're listening, I didn't say it.
He's a dork.
Oh boy.
I said it.
I mean,
Fight me.
I should hope him and Madison Rain have some pretty good banter, considering, you know, they're married and live together and have a kid.
No guarantees.
No guarantees. All right, let's move on. We're going to talk about MLW for a second because we gave it to ROH last week. They're dealing with COVID-19 and they're coming back to work and they're starting with their Pure title. MLW announced that they have a COVID-19 compliance officer and that the staff is undergoing certification training, which, by the way, is free on the WHO website. Anyone can be COVID-19 compliant. They're taking their steps to have a safer work environment so they can get back to producing shows. Meanwhile, Mance Warner and Brian Pillman Jr. keep asking for their releases, and they both keep getting denied. And Brian Pillman Jr. will still be on Dynamite tonight. He's allowed to work. Actually, it's been kind of widespread that anyone's allowed to work the AEW or the Indies until MLW comes back. But now it's only a matter of time until MLW comes back. Mance Warner has this hashtag free Mance Warner. Presumably he's trying to get away. Pillman, same thing. Don't know what's going on. We saw Saeed Al-Sabah recently also get his release from MLW, but that was a completely different situation. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I like MLW. I like Court Bauer. I like what MLW has brought in terms of wrestling podcasts. Back when podcasts were trying to come into the mainstream, they were ahead of it. So I'm looking forward to see what MLW has to offer because I miss a lot of their stuff. They had some really good content coming out when they were still running. Let's talk about favorites. Tim, what did you like this week?
What did I like this week? What are we? What day is it? It is Thursday.
See, I'm not alone.
All the way back 1 week is last Thursday. So SummerSlam. Dom versus Seth. Impressive. Very pleased. I mean, it's funny because I started the night talking to some friends and I was like, I don't give a crap about Dominic Mysterio. That's how that match started. And then slowly, like, it built so well. Like, as far as I keep coming back to Randy Orton and Ciampa's feud when Randy was talking about like, these people are like shortening their careers and they don't know how to tell a good story. And I think he said some more about that recently. This was a good story. It was fun. You know, it's wrestling. It's still like a soap opera level of storytelling, but that's what I want. And this was good. Like the way it built felt natural, and the end, chef's kiss.
I'm going to agree with you. Dominic and Seth had this amazing storytelling, and it's totally what I expected, but it delivered in the right ways. I don't think anyone's going to poo-poo on the two big debuts from the weekend. You know, Seth Rollins was always going to carry Dominic to a great match, but Dominic was also, you know, trained by guys like Lance Storm, trained by his father. He's been down to Mexico to train. He's been up to Canada, obviously. He's gotten a lot of experience. I don't know if he's had a chance to go to Japan yet, but I know he once upon a time talked about going to Japan. He wants to get as much experience as he can, but it looks like with what's going on in the world with COVID and all that, he's maybe just going to go back to that at another time. But for now, have that opportunity stateside because that's where he can go.
I appreciate that. He doesn't have necessarily like a typical wrestler's physique, but I find that interesting as well.
Right.
Like it's cool to see different stuff happening in the WWE for that.
That's right. And that's why you don't need to put a shirt on Keith Lee. We'll get
You don't need to put a shirt on Keith Lee.
no, or loose shorts.
No, that
Next.
was gear was fine.
You know what I liked? I liked at TakeOver, Pat McAfee and Adam Cole.
How damn that was good.
Here's the thing. I know a lot of people were walking into it saying, "Oh my God, who'd expect this from Pat McAfee?" I've said it a billion times. The man started training in 2017. He's trained with Rip Rogers. He has experience. He's never wrestled a full match, at least televised. But the man's not brand new to the scene.
That's the difference, though. Wrestling versus wrestling televised, I can only imagine, is very different. Like, it's got to have a different vibe. Like, cool, you got all these people working together with you to try to get it where it needs to be. But, like, I don't know. Like, I didn't expect much from him, but that was great.
That high superplex spot that everybody's talking about, where McAfee gets pushed off the top, does a flip, and then just box jumps to the top rope and gives that superplex. It had a lot of people talking, and I think it was the spot that they worked on the most, and it showed. The only thing I didn't like, and I don't like to do the negative thing, but I said it online too, the end of the match where it was Cole saying, "I'm going to watch you, watch your demise." I love the storytelling of Pat's own ignorance getting the better of him and him injuring himself and his brand, his leg, his foot. Great. But I didn't really like the part where he has to get up, stumble around, and then get the Panama City sunrise. The Panama sunrise.
That didn't make sense. I think there's no way that was planned. Like, I think Pat just ended up in the wrong position for the end, which we've seen happen before. We saw Orton's meltdown. Like, crap happens. You make mistakes. And I think that's what happened there, because watching him like get up and like zombie shuffle into position was kind of funny. Camera did a good job of like moving off of it quickly to kind of confuse the situation, but it was you could tell that was a little bit botched. But if that's the only mistake, and it's not a good mistake to make, but it was not that noticeable.
For your first televised match, I'll give it to you. It was great. And also that set that with the 3 X's, which they're now using on TV, at least 2 of the X's off to the side from NXT. Oh, great. I loved it.
Beauty.
That's something that I couldn't say enough good things about. It's one of the more fun sets for a takeover that I've seen in the last couple of years, really. What about you? What else from Takeover?
Me, Takeover, ladder match. Felt like an Attitude Era match. Like, it was very good. Everyone had their spots. Like, a lot of memorable moments to satisfy KO. Bronson Reed with Candice LeRae. That was just good.
Wonderful.
That was just great. I don't think I've really seen that before. It was awesome.
And the part where nobody reacted for anything the Velveteen Dream did.
Yeah.
These are your coworkers.
He killed himself for this.
These are your coworkers. I'm just going to leave it at that. From Raw, I'm going to take over and I'll say, and I feel like everyone's agreeing with me here, Aleister Black's turn was just great. It wasn't surprising in the way that most would expect it to be, but no, it was exactly as you'd think it would be. His eye was taken out. He's pissed off. He's been the same character for God knows how long, went undefeated, has one straight one-on-one pinfall against him, and suddenly no one cared.
Yep.
What? I'd be pissed.
It makes perfect sense, at least. Like, yeah, when it happened, I was like, good. And that was like the one thing that I really remembered from Raw. So, other than Keith Lee coming out, but
low bar.
And those whipped punts.
I'm not going to go there.
He's punting. No, they didn't look that bad. Honestly, I think everyone's kind of being a bit harsh on that. They looked okay.
They were what they were. That's the thing with Orton. He was told with the punt, it was either do it right or don't do it at all. Because when you pull back the way he's been doing lately, it looks shitty as hell.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, it's hard to flip and kick a guy in the skull kick a guy in the skull. Like,
but when he commits to it, he then gives someone a concussion, and that's a problem. So you know what? At least you'd work safe. It didn't look great, but whatever. You can fix that with angles, and I get it.
Yeah, and I think they did an okay job with that. I don't think it was that bad.
Exactly.
At least the ones that I'm remembering. Maybe I missed one.
No, it's fine. Last night's NXT, man, Go first. I want you to. What did
I don't have any. My lowest, the match I liked the least was the main event, and it was still great. It just started slower than the rest of them, so like it was a little bit lopsided. Where the end, which was phenomenal, was when things started to pick up. Favorite moment, I'm happy Brazango has the titles.
Absolutely.
They're great, very fun. Love them.
I want
Love
to.
them.
I want to see what they do with it. I want them to enjoy that championship run. I wouldn't be surprised if they're transitional and they lose them in 2 weeks to someone like Legado del Fantasma.
Which is fine, and I'm fine with that. Again, I talked about that last week when we were talking about. I think that stable is one that could be carries all the goal. They could do what the Undisputed Era did.
Right.
Like, I'm good. I'm good with that.
Yeah. For me, from NXT last night, Shotzi with the tank running over Robert Stone. I can watch that a billion times. And then the fact that it's going to be a rolling joke, perfect. I'll take it.
Love it. I hate that tag, but I love that.
Wasn't the biggest fan of Karrion Kross, or sorry, I did actually love Karrion Kross relinquishing the title. And
I was about to say,
sorry, my bad. The reason why I like it is because he came out with conviction and basically said, "This is mine, and whoever gets it next, it's only yours until I come back."
It was great. It set up a perfect return, which is so rare. Like, no one had to do anything weird. He came out. He was like still hard about it. Like, very, very intimidating. Just like, I'm a realist.
Yep.
You're going to die when I'm back. Which is like, I think that works best for him because like keeping the specter of people like him, like Goldberg, like Brock Lesnar, it can be really, really challenging.
Mhm.
So like, I think that this injury might actually be a little bit of a silver lining for his character. Cause like, I still want him to be the boogeyman for a bit. And like when you're on TV every week, it's hard to really maintain that in a way that I enjoy. Cause like I'm so sick of Lesnar and Goldberg.
Well, you know what? Speaking of comebacks, Wade Barrett came back to the table last night. I liked that. Wade Barrett hasn't actually wrestled a match since he left WWE in 2016. That's nuts.
I guess it was just over it.
Burnt out, but now he's back. He was on the call. He's coming back for Super Tuesday. Kind of gets some people wondering because his profile actually went live on WWE's website. So,
but Mauro's coming back, right?
Supposedly. I mean, the whole thing was he's in Canada and unavailable.
Yeah, his family.
Yeah, Mauro's taking time off before. Right? Yeah, but also, Mauro's been calling remotely since this all started. So I don't know where anyone's getting the idea that like he's never coming back. Him and Beth have both been doing it remotely with one person in-house, whether it was Tom Phillips, now it's Vic Joseph running the show with them.
Huh.
There are ways to do it. I mean, right now it's just going to be Barrett and Joseph, and then Beth's at home calling from her office, her couch, whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Wade was good. He had like a couple of flubs, but like nothing bad.
A little bit of
like
rust.
His British voice.
Yeah, but soothing.
I love Mauro. I don't know.
I guess we're gonna find out. It could be short term. They could be transitioning him into a match somewhere down the line. Who knows? He made it very clear.
Put him on. Get rid of Byron.
No. Fly him to the UK and maybe he can join NXT UK's broadcast team. Bring Nigel back to stateside. Maybe put Barrett on the UK. I don't know where Wade Barrett lives anymore. I think he's based in the United States, but I don't know.
It's hard to say.
But there we go. Speaking of hard to say, what did you not like?
I don't like Roman Reigns.
Really?
Fight me.
I might. Why didn't you like him? He came in, he wrecked it, and he left.
I just don't care. I don't like Roman Reigns' style. He seems like a very, very nice guy. I know he had a lot of heat a while ago, but I was looking on Twitter and it seems everyone loves him now. I've been away for a while. I just don't like I didn't like Cena either, really. Like it's like those guys with like the 5 move cycles and like nothing else. It's not my jam. I say I like Triple H, but he mixed other stuff in there pretty consistently. Whereas like, I feel like with guys like Cena and Roman Reigns, it's just spear, silly jump punch. What's another spine buster? Does he do a spine buster? I don't even know.
It was a Superman punch. He's got that. Oh man, now I'm not thinking about it. I get what you're saying. A lot of but again, you think about guys like Warrior, guys like, oh God, why am I bringing up these guys? Warrior and Hogan. You think of the top draws, the John Cena's, who didn't do a lot, but did a lot with the storytelling that they had.
Yeah, and like I mean, The
Yeah.
Rock's a good example of that. I like The Rock.
The Rock is a good
But, like,
example. Not a
you'd
great
throw
wrestler,
in-
great storyteller.
No, yeah, but like I don't know. I don't feel that from Roman Reigns. I just never have. I've never felt drawn to him in any way, and I missed the whole Shield thing, so that could be a lot of it too.
Yeah. For the longest
because
time,
that seemed like a legitimately good faction, but I just missed it all. So I don't
right.
know.
And one of the biggest problems with Reigns was when he split off from them or whatever, when they all split up, he kept the flak vest, he kept the music, and a lot of people were just like, why not give him his own thing? So now it looks
Identity.
like the way he came back, maybe his own thing, hopefully some new music, hopefully no flak jacket, just let Reigns come and beat the living tar out of people and say cool stuff. And that's what we want. That's all we
I'll
need.
say the other challenge with this that has nothing to do with him is, as a guy who really loves Bray Wyatt, I feel like the Fiend is impossible to book.
Mm.
Like they did it with the Undertaker, kind of throughout his, like, you know, he was over, the Fiend's over. I feel like the supernatural stuff, I enjoy it. I really enjoy when it's done, but it's difficult to do well. And it's hard to make like if Roman Reigns can just show up and destroy the Fiend. It's the same thing when Goldberg beat him. I was like, well, that's the end of how much I care about the Fiend. Like
Right.
if the Fiend beat Goldberg, maybe I'm more invested, but he didn't. So I was like, okay, you killed my interest in this. And it's just been, I love watching Bray Wyatt because I like Bray Wyatt. I feel like the Wyatt family could have been like an entire lifetime worth of quality that was just not used to its full potential, because I feel like people just have a hard time writing in wrestling. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, one of my big nopes from SummerSlam is that the Fiend won the Universal title, and part of that,
stop it.
That's always been the problem, is that the Fiend is not a title competitor. He's not the guy who wants your title. He wants to cause havoc. He wants to go and tear up his entire, he wants to tear up his coworkers.
John Cena, WrestleMania match. I don't like John Cena that much. Like that match.
Yeah, because you cared, because there was a story there that made sense, and it wasn't about a title. It was about just two guys who were at odds and didn't understand each other, and therefore had to fight. And Bray had his background with John, and John wanted to stop the evil that is Bray Wyatt. It made sense, and so as a result of this winning the Universal title, we got a payback 3-way coming up on Sunday, and we're going to do the whole payback card in a sec. But let's move from SummerSlam. To me, on TakeOver, I wasn't a big fan of Timothy Thatcher losing a match and then trying to challenge for the North American title 3 nights later.
Yeah, it feels weird.
Yeah.
It just feels weird.
Let him rack up a few wins first.
Yeah, I was disappointed with Karrion Kross versus Keith Lee, and I think that's just a result of the injury. Like, I don't know much about Karrion Kross. I've seen him squash guys, and then I saw this match, so I don't know what his real potential is. Like, I assume he was Killer Kross elsewhere, and he's pretty over, and his persona and his entrance are tremendous.
You bet.
I just don't know much about his wrestling capability yet, and this didn't excite me.
If you get a chance,
But he's hurt.
Yeah, well, if you get a chance, do go back, watch his stuff. As Killer Kross in AAA was pretty good. In Impact, he was good. When he started, I didn't like him very much. I kind of started watching more and more of his stuff. He did a little bit of work with MLW. But yeah, if you get a chance, go out, check out Killer Kross. And Karrion Kross as he is now, it's not a huge difference. He's just a guy who comes out and beats the living tar out of people.
He's fine.
Yeah.
Into that.
He's a big man,
I think,
muscly and bald.
yeah, like I'd love to see like him and Ciampa fight.
Yeah.
At some point. That would be
Well, him
amazing.
and Ciampa had a match in your house.
Wait, what? Did I miss that?
Apparently, that was the whole reason why
Wait.
Ciampa ran away in the first place and just came back on Wednesday.
Bloody watched in your house. Didn't he squash him?
Yeah, it was like a
Yeah,
It was
I don't want
one-sided.
to squash. Yeah, I don't want to watch that. I want a real match.
fair. Okay, moving to
That's
Raw.
why. So yeah, I definitely watched that whole pay-per-view. Missed it.
Whatever. Well, let's move to Raw. What did I not like? I didn't like the Raw Underground. There was an advertised match, did not deliver, did not happen, but I did enjoy the Hurt Business showing up angrily and kind of taking over. That and a Haystacks Calhoun reference makes me laugh, but that was really just out of the blue. Did not know why we did it. WWE Hall of Famer Haystacks Calhoun gets a reference in 2020.
I don't know why they're doing this. It's just confusing. Like, you got so much crap going on that's just it's hard to weave in. Like, Raw Underground isn't. I don't know what the point is. I don't know what I'm supposed to feel about it. Good to see the Hurt Business remember what they said a few weeks ago, but like, where is it all going?
They don't know.
I didn't like whatever happened with Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, and I guess it's going to be them.
Yeah,
Probably.
no, they're
Yeah,
going to face Boston
Bailey
Hug,
and
Golden Role
Sasha,
Models. Yeah,
yeah.
Bailey, Sasha. I agree with you about Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. One thing that just bugged the hell out of me was watching them like suddenly in the ring turn to each other, turn to Bailey and Sasha and be like, "Hey, let's set aside our differences for a second." Even though we just beat the crap out of each other for weeks.
Very abnormal.
Didn't really like it. It's one of those, can they coexist? And just don't do it. And don't, for the love of God, do not give them the titles. Please don't. I want to, it's nice to see new champions once in a while. Can't do it. And then finally for NXT, Austin Theory's back.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Who?
Yeah. Hey, listen,
he said he was on WrestleMania, and I was like, who?
Yeah.
When?
Theory's fine, but he got caught up. He got caught basically in speaking out. Stuff happened. He's been,
what the?
Yeah, well, he's another one, and he got cost the Gulags. This is the irony that I love. His last feud in NXT before called up to the main roster was with Breeze, and it was over the fact that Tyler Breeze failed as a main roster member.
Ouch.
All right. You know what? Because we're running low on time, we got to get moving. Let's talk about Payback. It's going to go on. We were supposed to do AEW talk. I'm so sorry, but we kind of went
sorry,
on.
AEW.
AEW is running now. If you're watching.
Wait. One thing.
What?
Mimosa Mayhem match.
Oh God.
Mimosa Mayhem match.
I posted the conversation on our Twitter at Tim and Joel Pod.
I'm so excited.
And you just can't hide it, apparently.
Yeah, and no, let me do this. I want to do this real quick.
Okay, talk about it.
Matt Hardy yeeted Sammy Guevara into oblivion. Boom, awesome, loved it. Eddie Kingston promo, so good. I don't know what that wink was.
Oh God, I love Eddie Kingston. Please watch
good.
more Eddie Kingston. Please enjoy him.
Mox and MJF promos. Oh damn, they were good. Like particularly MJF and that litigious. Like this is such a good angle. Making the paradigm shift like a dangerous move to litigate against. Love it. And Brody Lee has the TNT title. I'm just glad it's off Cody. Like, to be fair, I find it weird that he's like the, like main guy, face of the company, but also holding a title and like whatever Brandy was billed as the heel in the tournament and then came out and was like confusing.
They continue to do that, and that's a big thing they need to address is when
it's gotta
what is Brandy
make decisions. Yeah,
it's the same thing when they were doing the Authority in WWE, and it was like Triple H and Stephanie are these evil people trying to screw John Cena and all the rest, but then they come out and they're like, hey, we are giving money to cancer research and you should have the network for $9.99. Stuff like that used to drive me absolutely up the wall.
Can't have everything. Anyway, okay.
Let's do it real quick.
Payback.
No, I want to even. I got to do this. I know we're running short on time. Who would you rather date, Ivar or Angel Garza?
You go first.
Oh God, Ivar. Listen, if you cook a better chicken or turkey leg, I want the turkey leg wins every time. And plus, the big guys do it. They do it better.
No.
And plus,
okay.
Ivar's actually single.
Is he?
Oh, more single than the married Angel Garza.
Yeah, but Angel Garza kind of looks like Colin Farrell, so that's nice. Who doesn't like that? And he's fit. He's so fit.
Ivar's fit. Round is a fit.
Yeah. I mean, Ivar's fun. Also, my initial tweet ever was Ivar is cute.
Ha! Put it in the comments.
My very first tweet.
Put it in the comments. Put it in the chat. Ivar or Angel Garza, who would you date and why? It's a pretty rose and a pretty boy versus a big guy with a big bone to give you.
Angel could probably dance. Just saying.
That's true.
Probably a better dancer.
If I had a Blue Chew thing, I could go right into it right there. All right, let's talk about Payback. We got triple threat for the Universal Championship: The Fiend, Braun Strowman, and Roman Reigns.
Weird. Gonna be weird. Don't know.
Did
Whatever.
not want this.
Yeah, nobody did.
Who's gonna win?
I don't care.
The Fiend will win. Retribution will get involved somehow, and maybe that's going to be the end of the show. Who knows?
That's so much worse to me. Continue.
I'm so glad we do this. The WWE Women's Tag Team Championships: Banks and Bailey versus Nia and Shayna, aka the Second Bar. Can they see eye to eye? Who knows? That's for either team, by the way. At this point,
Bailey and Sasha are gonna lose probably.
really?
And then Nia and Shayna will lose shortly after, and then boom, double feud for each of them.
I think Banks and Bailey retain, and then maybe next month or the month after that, they'll lose.
It feels like they're getting to it, but okay.
You know what? There's been talk about doing it at Hell in a Cell. I would love to do it at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, Sasha, great Hell in a Cell.
Yes. Let her win a title and then never defend it successfully. Randy Orton will face Keith Lee. Who you got?
I don't know.
You're batting 1,000 on this.
Okay. So Randy and Drew isn't done, obviously. So if Drew interferes, so Randy will win by DQ.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if Drew comes in, interferes, and costs Randy the match and lets Keith Lee win, or has Keith Lee win.
By like what? Slapping Keith Lee?
No. Well, it would be referees down and Drew comes in and claymores Randy. And then Keith Lee hits the Big Bang Catastrophe and 1, 2, 3. Yep. Keith Lee gets the win. Then Randy gets to go out and say, "Hey, you mother, I shouldn't have done that. I didn't lose. I couldn't have lost. Drew, you screwed me." And then we're back to Drew and Randy. And who knows what Keith Lee will do. He'll say, "I beat you, Randy." Then it'll be a triple threat for some reason. Apollo Crews and Bobby Lashley. I almost said Dudley Lashley. Bobby Lashley and Apollo Crews for the United States Championship. It's got to be Lashley.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Yeah, I agree with that. It has to be.
The Hurt Business is everywhere. Somebody loves.
He's gonna hook in the full Lashley.
You never go full Lashley.
And give him some Whip Lashley. Like I could come up with so many better names. Like Whip Lashley is already way better than the full Lashley. Even just Whiplash, you know what it's getting at. Like,
Well, those are the announced matches. We have a few that we think might happen. The first, which we expect to be announced tomorrow night on SmackDown, is Matt Riddle versus Baron Corbin. It's Payback. Didn't happen at SummerSlam. If Bro doesn't win, I kind of give up. And don't stretch out the feud. Just let him win, and that's it. And let the bounty story just fade away. La-di-da.
Yeah, I agree. You got to give him something, or his role on the main roster isn't going to get started.
Exactly.
So do this.
Wouldn't be surprised to see AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy for the Intercontinental Championship. If they don't do it tomorrow night, then I assume they'll do it at Payback. Jeff Hardy he should win.
Yeah, I agree. They'll probably throw a stipulation on it if they run it back, though.
That's true. I mean, the match itself from Friday had what he used the brace, his knee brace.
Oh yeah.
So knee brace on a pole match.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll get to Aleister Black and Kevin Owens. I don't know if they'll actually run that match. And
I feel like they should build that a bit longer.
I agree. I want to see a little more out of Aleister Black explaining himself without saying "you people," and then maybe on the kickoff show just to do it and get out of the way, Natalya and Mickie James.
Cool.
Let's just
give me Mickie.
Give me Mickie too.
I asked for Mickie last week. Give me Mickie.
And
Natalya's good. I like watching Natalya wrestle when she gets to wrestle.
Yeah. All right. Are we at the end of this thing?
I think we're at the end of this
thing. We're at the end. I want to talk about the potential leaders of Retribution. I'm just going to name names, And I'm going to let you guys in the chat and on comment tell me who you think might be a potential leader of Retribution. Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, Keith Lee, Roman Reigns, Shane McMahon, Dominic Dijakovic, or Linda McMahon,
Oh my God, please. Please, Linda McMahon.
or Seth
It's
Rollins,
not going to be.
or Tommaso Ciampa, or
I
Tim,
thought it was going to be.
or at Tim Stone P, or at Joel Pearl. I think we're out of time, folks.
All right.
Enjoy your evening. Let wrestling put a smile on your face like it does for us. Tim, have a good night. Y'all,
Bye.
have a good night.